For those of you who are at NACS, might have seen this, looks familiar. This is sort of what we kind of looked at in terms of our look into the future. Again, thinking about the whole user experience and what you can do. Obviously, it's very different in terms of the traditional layout of customer interface features. Like you'll notice there are no more push to start buttons or unit price displays, as an example. We decided to kind of, from a conceptual standpoint, to kind of take them and move them up here. And so, what if you could do that? And thinking about areas where you could, again, shape the user experience, apply loyalty and other types of customer identification methods to be able to apply towards the different prices. You can see in this example where in the first instance we actually say, would you like to apply a fuel rewards discount? If you press yes, you can notice that the unit prices go down, in accordance with whatever your loyalty level is. This next particular instance was, well, what if you could have, a conversation or some type of interface with the car, and it knows, for example, that it's time for an oil change or your engine light's on, and it can kind of give you a message. Well, look, you need to go get this fixed, and here's a coupon to get $25 off, an oil change at so and so. And so that's kind of what that represented, and even to the point where, boy, would it be nice to get into an environment where you didn't have to worry on a real receipt printer, like when you walk in and do a transaction at the Apple store. And so it's basically you can have either no receipt or you have your receipt emailed to you. But what this does, if you think about just in this particular instance, this could also even get to the point where we move away from something like this, and at least in the initial, we can actually apply a keypad on a touchscreen. So it's, again, remember the focus being everything in one place. One of the things we've tried to do even with this design over time is to get the user kind of focused in one area, or at least as centralized as we possibly can, because it makes the most sense, it's the most intuitive. We recognize some of the necessary evils like payment cards and keypads. We're still going to have to be there adjacent to the main display where you wanted to make that connection, but it was still something we had to do. But in a future state, what if we didn't have to do that? If you saw that, the slide that Steve had up there, where it was just basically one big touch screen, even though this is a 12-inch panel today, when you start, you could actually have this customized so even when it recognized you, it already knew what your preloaded user preferences were, and so you knew that you're a huge Eagles fan, and therefore you were really despondent like I am. And so every week you have to go in and get some Red Bull or something to kind of boost yourself up, and you could actually then have more of a true tailored custom type experience that you could do here. And this, we think, from a development standpoint, is the technology is sort of what Tim and Annika talked about. Our 7-inch and 12-inch form factors. This will be the sort of the standard product here in more or less a year's time. But we're also thinking about in terms of what's next. What can we do? Everything being on here. Picture, for example, in a blending environment, I can have a much larger display. Just picture this entire panel filled up, and I can have literally, you could scroll through different Octane buttons, and each one of them could be associated with a unit price, and you could actually have whatever you'd like. And you could provide whatever promotion, or you could have, different, like in one segment, you could have a feature for V-Power here and extolling the virtues or the benefits of using it. And then have, in the case of the smart application, I have real-time Octane or real-time, other fuel quality characteristics, including how fast you're flowing, or other, key diagnostic or elements related to your vehicle, your entertainment preferences, whatever that happens, all on the display at the same time. So that gets you free to do whatever you want to down here. And again, in our world, our future state world, consider this. Think about this being just one big, even further extension of a display panel, where you could actually run more ads or have it. It's more of a digital billboard, and it can be interactive. So once you kind of get into this point where we go into this 12-inch form factor, the next step is what we're looking at beyond that, and even we're starting to prototype some things in the 24 to 27-inch range that would actually still be able to fit within here. That's the thing that we're going to be, from a next generation standpoint. Obviously, we'd love to talk to you guys in a lot more detail about that in terms of how to do that, whether it's not necessarily touch, but it's recognition, gestures, all those types of things. But the purpose for this really was just to kind of get discussion started, which was very, it served its purpose at the show and has continued to do so as we start to start having engagements with key stakeholders like yourselves to be able to say, well, what does the future have to look like here?